Hey, shalom, shalom. Want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Want to say double honors to our apostles, to our elders who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. This Rob Amar from the Nebraska camp that wanted to go over a lesson, just addressing, younger brothers in the faith, and just dealing with, how to stay in this thing, how to stay on fire in this thing. Because once we get into the scriptures, let's get it real quick. So Revelations 3:15, it says, I know thy works. Okay, and what is our works? Not only is doing these lessons, our study habits, us hit the highways, okay, as well as our the way we carry ourselves throughout this earth, okay. But we'll get into the definition itself. It says argon says business, employment, that which anyone is occupied, that which one undertakes to do. Enterprise, undertaking, any product, whatever, anything accomplished by hand, art, industry, or mind, an act, deed, thing done. The idea of working is emphasized in it says in I don't know, I'm not sure what it means exactly. To that which is less than work. Okay, deed, work, doing, labor. So it's more than, just hitting the highways. Is like it says, your works do follow you. How you carry yourself. This truth is a consistent thing of consistency. All right, and that's what I wanted to allude to was motivation versus consistency, man. And you don't want to be a person that's relying on motivation, and to speak from a place, of that, man. I was in that place of motivational videos, listening to David Goggins and E.T. Thomas and all that. And, of course, the scriptures stand above everything, but when you get a solid foundation, you'll mess around with stuff to, try to get a better understanding of self and how to be more efficient in its truth, But then I came across this book. I forget the exact name of the book. I think it's Unfuck yourself. It's a literal name of the book. It's one I read. And it was a good point, man. I'm not saying to go read these books, okay? Stick to the scriptures, especially young brothers. Stick to the scriptures, man. Get a solid foundation, know these precepts, understand where the Lord is coming from, what's required of you, okay? But just in reference of it, the guy was saying that you're reading all these motivational books. The guy was Irish, by the way, horrible Irish accent. It says you're reading all these books and nothing's happening because you're not taking action. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it clicked. That's when I stopped fucking with all them books, man. I just, because I'm more of a history book buff now, well, I always read history then, but getting to the point, man, I realized that taking action is what makes things happen, okay? And you have to have purpose to your action, and you don't stop until you produce a result, okay? You learn through taking action, and you can't fabricate the result to say I tried, things of that nature. It's a lock in my little ones, man. But yeah, man. You can't fabricate the result. To say, well, at least I did this, or I get it. Looking on the bright side, being positive, but there's a reality to a thing. Before you approach anything, there's an idea of what you was trying to accomplish. If you did not accomplish that, don't stop until you get that. When you came into this truth, you came to get salvation, okay? and you're not supposed to stop until you accomplish that. All right. And pretty much you can put yourself in a place to where you want these dopamine hits of satisfaction, and you'll tell yourself that you won when you really losing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say this: losing don't make you a loser. You're a loser when you lose, but when you win, you're a winner. So you are what you are in that moment, and you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to understand that you lost. Don't be afraid of losses, but you also, shouldn't be acceptable of that loss. You're not supposed to be accepting, oh, this is me. Oh, I can never win. No, and in this truth that Satan's going to always attack, in this truth you're going to have, your mind is fickle, okay? So that's why that motivation, affirmation crap is bullshit, man. Be motivated by the original reason you got into this truth. That's salvation, all right? You may go deeper and your motivation becomes your purpose. It could be serving the Lord, because that's what mine transition to. It's still, I want salvation, most definitely. But I didn't just say, oh man, you know what? Salvation ain't all that. I'm about to go to switch to this motivation. No, it's like, I still want salvation, but I start realizing as I built a relationship with Sophia that serving the Lord is what it's all about. Serving the Lord because he is. Serving Yahweh will because of the things he's done in the path he's laid for us. And I realized that, doing that, it would create an endless drive towards my consistency. You know what I'm saying? Endless drive. There's no tokens for this, to serve the Lord. There's no pit stops. There's no like checkpoints. There's no like, okay, you did it, you're done. And finding pleasure in that. All right. But again, motivation, is just you're burnt out. Okay. And I wanted to get a thing I looked up on the net. Okay. See here. And I looked up motivation versus discipline. And the thing about discipline, discipline is mainly based off of consistency. Like Mike Tyson said, doing the things you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. That's consistency. When nobody's clapping, all right, because we're prophesying to the wind. You still got to be consistent. You can't just go out there and just say anything, start getting complacent and not even studying properly. No, you're supposed to study every day. I was telling the brothers this last week, actually, man. Nobody really comes up and like really asks questions where we are. We're in Nebraska, so it's not like it's a city that's a big city like Chicago or New York, where, people, you might meet intellectuals, you might meet dumbasses, you meet a high population of different aspects of people. And they're extreme in every area, because you got to think about it. If you got a lot of dumbasses, there's going to be an extreme dumbass. If you got a lot of intellectuals, going to be extreme intellectual. So, when you, put them all together like that, you run into a lot more and a lot extreme of it, But out here it's like, you'll run across a person, and it'll be out the blue. And if we didn't study every day, if it wasn't on our spirit, we were just complacent with watching videos and trying to implicate and regurgitate what the elders say, then we wouldn't have been ready for those moments that the Lord have us out there for, And I wanted to get this motivation versus discipline in the AI overview. Okay. It says motivation is an emotional desire or inspiration to act. All right. Like I said, motivation gets you started. All right. But you shouldn't need a motivation to keep you going. All right. Motivation is really your purpose. You want to look at it, but you shouldn't keep having to look at your purpose. You shouldn't have to keep on. No, you keep your eyes locked on salvation. You keep your eyes locked on serving the Lord. And that's it. It don't have to be jazzed up like a relationship. I got to buy flowers. I got to go do this. I got to go do that just to keep the love lit. They ain't how this truth work. All you have to do is keep showing up and keep trying. Something's going to happen. I could do all things through Yahweh Shai who strengthens me. Right? You just keep showing up, be sincere, and something will happen. You will grow. You will increase in knowledge if you read every day. But you don't got to hear a fire story. You're going to have to read the same story and dig deeper. You know what I'm saying? Have a love for the thing that you're putting your hands on. Right? Have a love for yourself. Have a love for the brotherhood. Have a love for this truth. Okay? It says motivation is an emotional desire or inspiration to act, which is often temporary and depends on feelings and circumstances. And that's a very dangerous thing to be operating off motivation, because some days you might not feel like it. Some days Satan may be messing with you and have your spirit low. Okay? And you still got to get up and study. All right? You still got to, be a brother. Sometimes you're tired and you still got to be a brother. Sometimes life will be lit. But you still got to put that shit to the side and go study. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes everything can be happening good for you. You might get good money, good job, good this, good that. But you still got to focus on these scriptures, man. You might get you a woman. A woman doing everything you want her to do. You still got to be consistent. Because you got to remember, I got to get salvation. I got to serve the Lord. Again, if you do things with a purpose, okay, that'll make things a whole lot easier as well. All right? If you're getting a woman, she should be attached to your purpose, as long as she let me study. I need a woman that'll let me study. I don't need you to be in this truth. All right? Scriptures say, how did I know, O husband, if thou shalt save thy wife? How do I know, O wife, how thou shalt save thy husband? But if you do the works, they're covered. So that's why I say that. When I first came in the truth, you got to believe what I believe. I'm yelling, rebuking them, cutting them and shit all day. Hey, we still good friends, man, because I did it in sincerity, but it wasn't right, man. It wasn't conducive, But, hey, she believes. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, as long as she's content to dwell with you. As long as she's respecting your space, or he's respecting your space, not bringing any idols in your house, ain't fucking blowing black and miles in your presence, you shouldn't want nobody that's doing that. But you get what I'm saying, man. They may be a Christian, man. Most of them are Christians, and if they see you praying or fasting, they're supporting it, then that's what it is, all right? But you have to do things with a purpose. All right, you get a car just to make sure. Like, I got my car to be able to go out of town and come back to carry brothers. That was the purpose. Not only to get back and forth to my commutes, but also to the ministry. Okay, you have to, when I get a job, it has to have a purpose. Like, yes, to get paid, but what about the camp? What about things going on? So you have to, have direction. Because you could run in a circle at 1,000 miles per hour and get nowhere. You could run on a hamster wheel at 1,000 miles per hour and get nowhere. And I could walk 10 miles per hour or 5, well, that's 10 miles a lot. You could say about 3 miles per hour in one direction towards a destination, and I get way further than that person on a hamster wheel. Okay? So, now going to discipline, it says discipline, on the other hand, is the consistent action of doing what's needed, doing what needs to be done, regardless of one's feelings, acting on a reliable, skill-based mechanism that sustains progress towards your goal, your purpose. If a man falls 7 times, you get up 70 times 7. It don't mean that your ass just keep falling to the same thing. You should be falling to something different, okay? Or falling progressively towards something. It's just like, it's just like boxing, man. Okay? I do it myself when I'm sparring, not when I'm fighting, even when you're fighting, because the high IQ boxers do it. I throw a shot, they'll counter it. I don't run from that shot because of failure. I don't run from that person because they got the best of me. I keep going in that ring till I figure them out, because I need to become better as a fighter, defending myself and being offensive. Right? I need to accomplish my goal. I never went in the ring and said, yeah, I'm about to get my ass beat today. I'm going to show you. No, I said, I'm going to whoop his ass. I didn't say he's going to whoop my ass. That's for damn sure. So at no time that if I lose, do I sit there and say I'm a loser? There's been plenty of nights that I went in that ring and had one of those big sparring to prepare for fights. And some days I said, man, I need to go pro. And some days I'd be like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Like I don't belong here. And all I gotta do is meditate on how to figure this shit out, man. He did this to me, I should have did that. Okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna go and work it. And then it solves the issue. Or I might do it and the coaches see me and they say, hey, if you do it like this, did it work out for you? Then it'll work. Okay? But it's all doing what? Being consistent towards the goal, because some days you're going to feel on fire. Some days you're going to feel like shit, man. All right? So let's get some precepts to support that. All right? So we're going to go into 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. It says, preach the word, and this is talking about our goal towards this truth. All right? I know I'm kind of segueing from boxing to this truth, but it's all, it's relative. If Jake know, they know. All right. It says, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering. So I want to get that word instant. All right. It's like I got to get that precept again. 4 and 2. 4 and 2. So get that word instant. It says here, episteme, but it says to place, at, place on, place over, stand by, be present, stand on, to stand over one, place oneself above, of persons coming upon one suddenly, an angel of the advent, angels of dreams, of evils coming upon one, to be at hand, be ready, of time to come upon, of rain. So you're ready, you're apt. All right, you're apt to teach. You're just apt. You're present. Okay, you're present in adversity. You're not running because it's uncomfortable. Okay, you don't care about comfort. You don't care about hardship. You don't care about easy. You care about getting the job done. All right, you not care about how it looks, how you look. Okay, I'm not saying you want to do a good job, but you're not saying, hey, look at me, I did it today. It's like, a woman asked me every day I come for highways. How's the highways? And it's like I don't think about that. I'm thinking about the next time. As a positive bar, I say, all right, bro, after I do this lesson, I'm thinking about the next lesson. I'm thinking about like what I did wrong, what I could have done better, what I did good. Why did I do that good? And I'm trying to improve in some type of area. I'm not really salvating on, oh yeah, it was a good highway today, unless the spirit's moving and something great happened. But outside of that, man, it's on to the next one, man. You know what I'm saying? And it takes discipline. And discipline requires consistency. You can't be emotionally affected by the ups and downs of the world and your mind. All right? Galatians 6 and 9 says, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. All right? As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. All right. So you have to be consistent in well-doing. You can't sit there and be mentally affected or having a low day, and now that regulates your emotions. That's how women operate. All right. And I wanted to go see here. It's a word I wanted to get. believe it's the word weary, but I don't think it's the word weary, but we'll get it through the Spirit, man. It says the word weary, to be utterly spiritless, to be wearied out, exhausted. You know, and this world can make you, it gives you reasons to tell you that you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to put in that work, you know. And I want to go in the word faint as well. It says to loose, unloose, to set free, to dissolve, metaphor, to weaken, relax, exhaust, to have one's strength relax, to be enfeebled through exhaustion, to grow weak, grow weary, be tired out, to despond, become faint-hearted. So you have to have a strong mind. You have to have a strong will. And if you stick to your purpose, you won't get weary. But if you're doing things moment by moment, it will mess with it. Because if you fail and you're just trying to live by that moment, i.e., if I'm trying to become a world champion and I start off in the amateurs, if I lose, I'm going to say, okay, I got to do this, and do that to fix this. Because my goal is to become world champion. You got opportunities, right? But if I'm sitting here saying, okay, I'm going to fight and I'm going to try to win, and then you lose, and if you have you don't see it far off, as the scriptures say, you're going to be affected by those immediate moments. Those immediate moments matter, but to what purpose? Okay? So, you know, we fail every day as men of the Lord. Okay? We fail every day. All right? Our righteousness is filthy rags. So if you're sitting here trying to be perfect every day and you fail, you're gonna feel like a piece of shit every day. But if you're striving for salvation, if you're pressing toward the mark, all right, you will then, you know, say you'll get up. You'll keep getting up and keep fighting a good fight. Okay? So let's go into this last precept. It says 1 Corinthians 15 and 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. You know, so we have to be steadfast, unmovable, consistent, man. Consistent. And the only way you could be, I ain't gonna say the only way, you know, the Spirit of the Lord, be having a purpose, being diligent, making your calling of election sure, you know. But consistency is key, man. And guess what? The more consistent you are, the easier it gets. Okay? The more you read every day, the more lessons you do, the easier it gets, because you'll build up a callus, you build up a habit. Your body gets used to it. That's why it says, attend to the Lord without distraction. The less distractions you have, the easier it is to get to something. All right? That's like running a full sprint, stopping, sitting down, and then getting right back up and trying to run a full sprint. No, you got to warm back up and shit, man. It's going to be hard to just get up and do something, you know? So you got to know how to, you know, control yourself, man, and being consistent. I tell you what, it's easier to run on a treadmill at one speed, okay? But to get on a treadmill and sprint, put that joint, and this is what I did as a fighter, man. Give y'all a little tidbit for those who be squabbling, you know? Put that joint on 6 speed, 6 incline, start sprinting. Boom, 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 boom. Hop off at 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. 7 speed, 7 incline. Hop on, woo, hop, and then do all the way up to 10, back down to 6. You're going to be dead tired in like 10 minutes. You'll be dead tired, bro, because you're going up and down. You're fluctuating. You know what I'm saying? And that's how life is, but you got to be consistent. You got to keep getting on that treadmill. You got to keep going, because life is inconsistent. The treadmill is life. All right? The inconsistencies is the treadmill going up and down. That's life. Life is inconsistent. All right? But we're consistent. We keep getting on that treadmill no matter the speed, no matter the incline. And we keep running. Okay? So, yeah, we got to keep pressing towards the mark, keep fighting a good fight of faith, and have a purpose to your fight. It should be salvation, serving the Lord, doing the right thing. Whatever it is, stick to something. And don't finish until you accomplish it. And don't be trying to pick something that's short range. As the scriptures say, you got to see afar off. All right? Hey, shalom.